think it's kind of exciting that you have a brand new asset class.
To unleash innovation in savings and financing, I'm also working to ensure America remains the crypto capital of the world. And to that end, last year I signed the landmark Genius Act into law. Now Congress is working very hard on crypto market structure legislation, Bitcoin, all of them, which I...
All right, so he says Bitcoin, all of them. Welcome to Digital Asset Guy News with your host, Digital Asset Guy. Thank you for being here. That is President Trump at the World Economic Forum saying that he looks forward to signing the Clarity Act, market structure bill, as Congress is working very hard on it. So we'll see if that happens, but he does say that he's saying that he wants to sign it, but we'll have to see if it gets signed anytime soon. Before we get too much further, first of all, anything I say in these videos are not financial or investment advice, just my own personal thoughts and opinions. This is iTrust Capital, the digital asset guy's favorite place to buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrencies, and also gold and silver. You can own crypto, gold, and silver in an IRA, traditional Roth, or a SEP, or in their all-new premium custody account, which is not an IRA, it's just a regular account where you have institutional-grade custody. And iTrust Capital is a custodian, meaning it's their job to safely hold your assets. It's my favorite place. It's changed my life. All right, so I had a friend, a longtime friend, Lauren, message me this evening asking what my prediction was for Bitcoin in 2026. I told her I would explain that in this video because it's kind of a long story. So for 2026, this is how we've gotten started. Of course, we're in it right now, but we just had a large drawdown. So let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about the 4-year cycle. So back here in 2017, I got into crypto in 2016-ish back here. So, but 2017 into 2018, this was our first major bull run that I witnessed. So Bitcoin went to roughly, let's say, 20,000 at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018. So fast forward 4 years, we're up at the top here, 67,000 in 2021, the end. Fast forward another 4 years, we're almost at the end of 2025 when we top at 126,000. And then we have our steep liquidation drawdown. So it's been roughly 4-year cycles. People are arguing now that we're done with the 4-year cycle and we're going to not have these deep bear markets anymore. Time will only tell, but in my opinion, if you look at this, so this was 20,000, then we go up to like 67,000. Then when we come down into this bear market, this was right when FTX collapsed. We went down to about 16,000. It's a little lower, but it's almost like we went down to this bull market top at 20,000, around there. And then when we were up here at 106, it wasn't our true market top, but it was a top. And then we crashed back down and we sat on top of this all-time high around 67,000. I mean, a little higher, but then also this point of resistance that we saw was up around this high, around 67. This one's a little higher, but it was sitting on top of it as resistance. But anyway, I think this top at 67,000, if we were doing a true bear market, I think we might come back down around that. Of course, it's not going to be exactly, but then if you check this out, we were up at 20,000 in 2017. About a year later, in 2018 in December, this was our low. This is when I bought my first Bitcoin in between 3,000 and 4,000. Up here, we're at 67 in November of 2021. In November of 2022, this is our bear market bottom around 15,000, 16,000 when FTX collapsed about a year later. So would it make sense for about a year later, like next October, for us to maybe be down around this market top around 67,000? I think it would make sense. Who knows, though? We've got the Clarity Act. Everybody's hanging their hat on, saying this will change everything. I'm not a big believer in that. I don't know that it'll be passed because I don't see them passing it at this point in the market cycle. And then even if it is, it might be a huge buy the rumor, sell the news, and it'll probably take time for the Clarity Act to come into effect. So my prediction is that we will see the bottom in 2026, which I could see being somewhere around this number, the top in 2021. Who knows? Maybe I'm totally wrong and they sign the Clarity Act, and for the first time ever, we don't have a bear market like this and we just turn around and go to the moon. It's possible, but we've never done that before. It's been 4-year cycles, and it's taken about a year to get to the bottom. I think it's a tremendous opportunity. I'm just loving it. I sold and took a lot of profit back in October, right up here. And I'm not in just Bitcoin. The majority of my holdings are not in Bitcoin, so it's little different, but that's why I like XRP, because it's better, faster, cheaper. Transaction fees are lower, but when XRP, when it moves, it stands straight up. Here's where we had our Ripple SEC lawsuit. This bull run got kind of ruined, but right here, 2024, this was October, this was November, this was November, and then January, we're way up here, took a little breather, and then in the summer, we were at $3.50, coming all the way from below 50 cents in most of this. So when it goes, it goes. But for Bitcoin, I would say, I think the bottom will be in 2026, probably between where we're at and about 67,000 for that last market top. So hope that kind of answers your question, Lauren. It's hard to, nobody's right on with this stuff. I'm a huge fan of the blockchain backer, who's a chart analyst, but even he's not exactly on, and times are changing. I mean, with the Clarity Act and all the politics, maybe it will change things and we finally get far away from the 4-year cycle. So, my prediction's that we have a bottom in 2026 around maybe 60, 70,000. So, all right, here is the CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, talking about some of the drama.
Careful not to say anything. We don't represent the whole crypto industry, but from a Coinbase point of view, I was not comfortable with the draft text as written, and I'm glad that everyone came back for another round of negotiation.
Well, other people have been saying stuff. So since we're going here now, a journalist from Crypto in America said a White House source told her this is President Trump's bill, not Brian Armstrong's bill at the end of the day, and that the White House is going to pull out if you don't come back to the table. You push back on this. What's really happening?
Oh, yeah, I mean, this is not our bill. I give all the credit really to the Senate, and certainly President Trump has said that this is a core part of his crypto agenda. So my impression is that the White House is fully leaned in here and wants to get something done, as do we, as do the bank CEOs that I met with today. So I'm not seeing any real barriers here. There's some people who are a little grumpy. I think they got caught off guard that we didn't support the draft as is. But it's kind of like that metaphor of 3 blind people looking at an elephant and everyone's trying to figure out. there's probably somebody in the administration who had that point of view, but that's not the people we're speaking with. I don't think have taken that approach. They actually very much want to get this done.
Now,
I thought he kind of dodged the question. She was talking about Eleanor Terrett, where he said, in general, love your posts, but this is not accurate. The White House has been super constructive here. You know, Eleanor, I love how Eleanor just cuts right through it. She's like, my reporting was airtight and accurate. You know, I think Brian was frustrated with the situation, was trying to take it out on her. But in that clip, he's kind of, you know, he's even like looking away as he's explaining. And then he posted this silly thing about the blind and the elephant. There's these three blind guys. One's holding the tail, one's holding the trunk and saying it's a snake. I thought it was kind of bizarre. But I don't know. Basically what's going on are the banks are holding up the Clarity Act, or at least that's the narrative. And the banks are saying we don't want people earning yield on stable coins because they can't compete because they're offering next to nothing. So, excuse me. So times are changing though, and I think, you know, I expected to see a lot of this drama. So here is Senator Cynthia Lummis, who's been a huge proponent of the Clarity Act, and she wrote today, for 4 years, the Biden administration tried to kill the digital asset industry with its regulatory warfare. The Clarity Act locks in protections anti-digital asset leaders like Elizabeth Warren can't undo. Let's get this done before it's too late. In my opinion, that sounds to me not so confident. You know, she's saying, let's get this done before it's not too late. Like, I hope we can get this done. And let's see, she also put, broad industry agreement is rare, but we have it on the Clarity Act. Builders, investors, innovators across the ecosystem agree this moves us forward. With a pro-crypto president ready to act, we can't wait. America's leadership depends on it. I agree, and this just doesn't sound quite as confident as she was a couple months ago. And I don't know, I just have a feeling, I just think we're simply not in the right stage of the market cycle now that I believe we're heading into a bear market. I don't think that's the right time to pass this thing. And I just, you know, really though, when I think back, I've been in this since about 2015, you could argue, dabbled and got in at 2016. You know, there's all these narratives. When this happens, we're going to the moon with prices. You know, when this happens, we're going to the moon. I have never seen any coin go to the moon and just set all new all-time highs based off of news or a certain event happening or legislation. We haven't had a lot of legislation, but so I just kind of don't buy into this narrative that even if the Clarity Act signed, that it means we're going to the moon. I think it'll be great for things, and once it's in place, things will ramp up. But I think they've got everybody focused on it. The market cycle kind of fizzled out in October, and when the government shut down, they're kind of like, oh, this is a perfect time to say, oh, there's a problem, you know, it's not going to be passed. And then I think that it not passing now, excuse me, it might be our narrative to drive us into the heart of the bear market. So just like an FTX or China banning Bitcoin and blockchain, you never know. So we'll have to see. Let's see. Excuse me. Where I live, it's getting extremely cold, and the heater's kicking on more and more, and this allergy that I have gets worse and worse. So here's XRP Las Vegas 2026. It's going to be April 30th through May 1st at the Paris Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. It's going to be a lot of fun. My video where I was talking about it is up to 35? Should be 36,000, which it says there, so I'm not sure why it says 35, but anyway, 36,000 views. And then it got another like 16, but it says 15. It's weird. When Brad Kimes shared it, and then also Digital Asset Investor gave me a shout out the other day. It was it was a very big moment for me, but you can see it. I posted it here. This is my new intro video that Mike Jansen just made for me, Digital Asset Investors video producer, actually. It's absolutely wonderful to work with. And this is going to be on the intro of my news videos from now on. So I think it's kind of exciting that you have a brand new asset class.
I met this guy at XRP Las Vegas last year. I do follow him. Anyway, I met him last year at XRP Las Vegas, and he said some really nice things here and the truth about XRP Las Vegas.
Hey everybody, this is Digital Asset Guy.
And anyway, there it is. What's right here, you can go on and listen, and I have it on my YouTube channel. But I think what DAI was talking about with me saying the truth about it is, I said, there will come a day where we can't get in a room with Brad Garlinghouse, David Schwartz, some of these really heavy hitters, and that is probably the truth, especially with something like XRP where you've got a huge $100 billion company commercially using this digital asset, and it's the best, fastest, cheapest. When that thing gets ramped up, it's going to be like, it's going to be like an Amazon or a Facebook, only it's a currency, so going to be pretty crazy. But yeah, XRP Las Vegas, the tickets are on sale now for $589 rather than $900. The after party, I hear, will be a pool party at the Paris Hotel. The Digital Asset Guy has already stayed at the Paris Hotel before, and they have a very nice pool with this giant Eiffel Tower that's kind of fun to take pictures in front of. So it's going to be a really great time. So if you're at all interested, for me, it is priceless, because all of these, crypto's my life, most of it, and watching Digital Asset Investor, Digital Perspectives, being on Twitter or X and following this news every day, following the prices, it's, part of who I am. So when I go to XRP Vegas, it's not just a trip, it's like a family reunion. But it is a very unique time in history where we're still a small enough community we can do this, because in the future, I don't think we'll be able to get everyone in one ballroom. So just something to think about. Well, a lot going on this week with Davos and President Trump talking, and this month is big for the Market Structure Clarity Act. A lot of drama going on. Remember, the Digital Asset Guy, I'm not saying that I'm not making an official prediction. I'm just saying I could see there being a huge problem with the Clarity Act or with Trump coin. What I keep hearing is the Democrats want to make it so that the president and members of Congress or politicians cannot make their own cryptocurrencies like Trump did with Trump coin and Melania coin, which I think is ridiculous, because anyone can make their own crypto and people will buy it or they won't. Congress has been able to own stocks. I just think it's ridiculous. But I could see that being used as some major drama where the Clarity Act maybe doesn't pass anytime soon, and that's our bear market narrative. I hope that it is passed, but I just get a feeling it may not be. And I keep hearing that it's being pushed back further and further this month at least. But we'll see. I could also see a Michael Saylor problem with MicroStrategy, or his company. I think now it's just called Strategy, where, maybe something goes down with shareholders being upset with the price of Bitcoin being down, kind of shaking their trust. I could see that happening. I could see another crypto exchange or large company having a problem that might kind of get latched onto by the media. And all of a sudden there's our bear market narrative. Maybe we'll get a crypto black swan event where it's just something, I don't know, Satoshi moves some Bitcoin out of the Satoshi wallet, something that really scares everyone out of crypto. And that'll be our bear market bottom. I think we'll see that some point in 2026. So it'll be exciting. But I think this bear market's just an opportunity. All right, that'll be enough for me. Digital Asset Guy out. Thank you for listening.